Welcome to the EVERBLACK Podcast. On this episode, we talk to the one and only Devin Townsend, who will be returning to Australia in September for his acoustic and evening with tour. We'll be playing songs from different eras of his career and also doing some Q&A with fans afterwards. Devin is always great to talk to and had a lot to say about the upcoming tour and his latest album, Empath. He also mentioned that he's looking at playing some strapping young lad material in the future, which just knocked me on my ass, as it's something that he said for a very long time that he didn't have interest in doing and want to move away from. So never say never, right? I mean, yeah, that's just going to be incredible. Make sure you do go and see Devin on this An Evening with Devin Townsend Australian tour. That kicks off on the 8th of September at the Thornbury Theatre in Melbourne. Then September 10 at the Gov in Adelaide. September 11th, the Old Museum in Brisbane. September 13 at the York Theatre in Sydney. September 14 at the Thornbury Theatre in Melbourne. That one is sold out, so if you haven't got tickets for that one, you can see him on the 8th. And then wrapping up on September 15 at the Freo Social in Perth. Tickets are on sale now through the links at troubadourmusic.com. Get them now. It's going to be awesome. I saw him at the last acoustic show he did in Brisbane, and it was just a hell of a lot of fun. All right, before we go into the interview with Devin, we have to mention that this episode is brought to you by Blacklight Art and Design, who are our go-to for all our screen printing needs. They've done all our shirts and hats for EVERBLACK Media, and they've got such a great turnaround and excellent customer service. Highly recommend checking these guys out at www.blacklightad.com.au. The show is also brought to you by our good friends at RW Promotion, who are the best in the biz when it comes to stickers, flyers, banners, badges, and all other promo you need for your band or business. Go check them out at www.rwpromotion.com.au. On that note, welcome back to the country, Rich. He has just been overseas having a good old time. So I'll be paying you a visit for some EVERBLACK stickers and stuff very soon, my friend. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and EVERBLACK Podcast through iTunes, Spreaker, and wherever good podcasts are streamed. Also, we're on all the social medias like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Chuck us a like. Appreciated. Send us a message. We love talking to you guys. It's a lot of fun. And also want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the Devin Townsend Facebook group who threw their support behind the interview before it went up and threw me some questions. And I tried to make this one a little bit more interactive. But it was a bit of limited time, obviously, but Devin was great, and I appreciate all you guys with your input. Thank you to everyone that has participated. Shout out, you know who you are, and thanks for subscribing too, to the ones that did. All right, here is my interview with the one and only Devin Townsend. Get your tickets now. Get Empath now. It's out everywhere. Enjoy. Devin, thanks so much for taking the time to have a chat today, man. I know you're probably doing thousands of these interviews at the moment and answering the same questions, so I do appreciate your time.
Not at all, man. I'm very happy to. Thank you for the interview.
Too easy. Well, of course, you're coming back to Australia in September for an evening with tour, and I was at the last Brisbane one you did, and I had a really, really good time, man, like the stories you told and everything like that. You do a few of these over the world between full band tours and albums. Is that sort of planned out that way?
Yeah, this one's a little different. The last one that I did in Australia was more of a spoken thing and more of a guitar clinic kind of deal. This one is more of a concert. And how I chose to sort of structure the Empath touring cycle is to bring it back to nothing and then start again, basically. I think towards the end of the DTP thing, there was, it was really cool, but there were some intrinsic musical things that I felt I needed to change. But there was also like a lot of technology. You know, there's a lot of backing tracks. There's a lot of visuals and click tracks and all that sort of thing. And I started feeling on some level that it was divorcing itself from the idea of just playing music and the emotional connection that brings. So the acoustic tour functions in a couple of ways. It functions as, well, number one, I finished Empath. Empath kicked my ass to make the Empath record come to life in a live arena needs to have significant time, significant preparation and capital behind it. And that's not something that I wanted to rush. but knowing that I had to go out and I like interacting with the audience, and I want people to be present with what I'm doing. The acoustic tour and playing the back catalog in this way became something that was really appealing to me as a way to start this whole Empath touring cycle. And the reaction to it has been superb. And it's not just the mellow stuff. This stretches back into the Strapping catalog or any of the Ziltoid stuff. And I think it's interesting when the acoustic stuff gets played, how similar the vibe is in the acoustic shows with songs like Deadhead or what have you, as it is with a full band. And a lot of that, in my estimation, is because this stuff was all written with just a guitar. It's no matter the level of orchestration that goes into it in an album, the genesis of this stuff was all just me with a guitar, right? So it's been a very very cathartic and very liberating touring cycle. And after Australia, I don't think I'll be doing it anymore.
Oh.
The next step is, the next band, right? So
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, the last one was really cool. I do like how, you get to hear this stuff stripped back, and you've done it all over the world. But have you found that, touring in those different countries, doing this kind of thing, and the different cultures that influences your writing in some way? Do you find that you bring something back each time?
Holy crap, totally, dude. I spent 3 weeks in India, and that was fucking crazy, And then, I spent a week in Cyprus, and then, now I go to, after Australia, I go to Singapore, and then Thailand, and places that I've never had the opportunity to tour. I can do it with this show as well, and that has been really, really intriguing for me as a performer.
Do you have songs that you've written in different parts of the world that, each time you play them, that sort of just transport you back to that, say like Australia, for instance? Is there anything that springs to mind?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, my God. I remember years ago just eating a load of mushrooms in Australia and writing a ton of music, right? And I wrote, what have I written in Australia? Down and Under from Terria, obviously. Planet Rain from Physicist.
Wow.
I remember, I wrote Olive from Terria. That was sitting in a hostel. I wrote Bad Devil in Australia.
No way.
Yeah, I've written tons of things in Australia, man. And a lot of times these tours and the interactions with people that I have and the friends that I make and everything when I go to these places, it affects what I do in huge ways. And these acoustic shows, I think, have been really inspiring to me. So, I think that when the audience comes and we participate together in these shows, there's a good chance that those participations will lead to new music with me. So please come.
Oh, dude, that's so awesome to hear. Bad Devil's probably one of my faves. So to hear that was...
Yeah, and I mean, this is that whole Infinity era, man. I mean, the first tour that we did, I guess it was 97 or 95 or whenever it was, but we were staying in hostels and traveling in vans. We had one van playing in Wagga, you know what I mean? Staying in hostels, all of us in one room. And, things have changed substantially since then. Australia is a great place to tour for me now. But all those experiences really end up becoming pivotal in whatever happens to me next creatively. So even now that Empath is done, now that I've kind of got that out of my system and everything that went along with it is kind of purged, I'm now accumulating experiences for what happens next. And I have no doubt that this acoustic run in Australia will also contribute to that.
Empath, it's a funny album, man. It's very Devin, but it's huge. I'm trying to describe it. It's bonkers. That's one word that comes with it, and it's brilliant. I love what you've done with this album.
Thank you. Let me give you the best description I think I can give for it at this point. And I've given this description a couple times, and it still makes sense. I equate it to how they make chocolate milk, how they made Empath. It's like the chocolate milk is a byproduct of them cleaning the pipes. All the shit that accumulates in the pipes after years of making milk in order to clean the pipes, they just blast it with cocoa, and then you get chocolate milk, right? And at the end of it, you have these kind of clean pipes. That's what Empath was for me. It's less of a statement of something new and more of a purging of literally 25 years worth of shit. And when I look at songs like Hear Me or, Parts of Singularity that are very clearly rooted in the strapping era, or midsection of Borderlands is very much like Ghost, or Genesis, which is basically like going to the soda dispenser with your cup and just putting every type of soda in there. You know what I mean? It's like it was a real conscious decision on my part to make a record like this, not only to evaluate my relationship with each particular part of my career to date, but also to really just make peace with certain parts of my trip, like the heavy stuff, or my past in some ways, things that I was maybe frightened of exploring, like the heavier stuff in some ways. Like Empath served a very practical function for me to sort of get that out of my system. And it was a motherfucker to make, man. Like, holy shit, this album was a motherfucker to make on every level, like clearly by listening to it. Whether or not you even like it, I mean, people will listen to this record and just be like, oh shit, there's clearly a lot of work that went into this. And I highly support that hypothesis. But now that it's done, and now that I've kind of been working through the live stuff with the acoustic and like Q&As and interactive sort of things, man, I really feel like Empath, there's going to be a before Empath and after Empath with my career, man. And it was an absolute essential step for me to make.
Do you think the metal side of things is still going to be a part of that next step in some way?
Yeah, I think it might be more. I feel that I'm doing a tour in November that's going to be, a very selfish tour for me. Like a ton of people on stage playing a bunch of stuff that I've wanted to play for years. A lot of improv, a lot of really interesting sort of quirky things. But starting next year, I'm going to be touring everything, and that includes the strapping stuff. I'm going to be doing, like, what equates to, like, well, what's the best of what I've done over the past few years? Let's make this live venture for me the best it can possibly be and learn from your past and come back out. And I think there's a lot of musicians that fall away from metal. But in a sense, I kind of fell back in love with it recently. But in no way does that mean that it's like taking over. It's just, it's a big part of what I do, and it's a big part of who I am. And I think I've denied that for a certain amount of time. But I, it's everything, man. It's like Empath was for me. The metal part of it is just as big a part of my trip as the mellow part of it. It's not one over the other. It's just who I am.
So what's the old saying? You can take the man out of metal, but you can't take the metal out of the man.
Yeah, nor would I want to.
That's not right.
Yeah, I guess you can take the metal out of the man. I mean, I don't want to get rid of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I love it. It's just, it has to play ball with the other stuff, and that stuff has to play ball with the other stuff. I mean, it's healthy for me to recognize that it's a part of my nature as opposed to denying it, right?
Yeah, and it's part that I love about what you do, both sides. I
look forward that the next tour that I do in Australia will be a pretty intense thing, I think, man, after this acoustic run.
And I'll be at both. It's gonna be
awesome.
It's gonna be unreal, man. I'm so excited. And of course, one thing I was going to ask you: how's the 5.1 mix coming along?
Yeah, it's good. If I'm being perfectly honest, it's more work than I want to be doing right now, so I'm postponing it for a bit. I did 4 songs, but honestly, man, I'm just not ready to dive back into a project.
No.
And that's another indicator of progress for me, because what I've done typically is I've just snowballed from one project to another, just over and over, like project, to the point where I started recognizing that perhaps some of my motivation for doing that was just I was avoiding thinking about things on some level. Like if you're constantly predisposed with work, then you don't have to like spend much time thinking about where you're unhappy or where there is room for improvement. And so when I started doing the 5.1 mix a couple of weeks back, about 2 days into it, I was like, you know what? As great as this is, and as much as I've wanted to do this, I don't need to do this right now. So I'm going to postpone the second half of that. And I think that was a great move for me, to be honest.
I think, man, considering how much work you put into Empath alone and everything that just jumps through the speakers, when I saw that you were doing a 5.1, I was like, okay, that sounds like a massive task.
It's huge amount of work, man. And I just was in the studio, and the sun was out, and I was just like, what am I doing? Like, go spend some time with your family, man. Like, what's wrong with you, dude? And I think that had it been prior to this Empath record, I don't know if I would have had the wherewithal to make that connection. So, like it says in that song Sprite, slow progress is still progress, and I'll take it.
On the subject of Sprite, who's the dude who narrates the start of it?
Nolly's father, the guy who I used to engineer the drums on this record, his father is 90 years old. Like, Nolly's only 30, so his dad must have had him when he was 60 years old. Right? And he's a 90-year-old, incredibly intelligent, very functional, older guy. And he was in the house, and I said, hey, would you mind doing that? And he was all for it. And it was great to have him on there, man.
I want that dude to narrate my day-to-day. It's just everything. He's awesome.
He might have been narrating Nolly's for all we know. So we should ask him if that's worth wanting.
Oh man, that's awesome. Of course, your son is on the album as well, right?
Yeah, he screams and yells on certain parts for sure.
Because he'd be he'd be like 11 now.
He's almost 13, man. It's,
dude.
Things move so quickly that you catch yourself in these frames of mind where you still consider yourself to be 28, 30 years old. And then one day you wake up and you're like, holy fuck, I'm almost 50. I have no idea how that happened. And kids and the process of having kids and the process of moving forward in the ways that I've moved forward and the goals that I've set for myself and the things that I've achieved and things that I haven't achieved, every now and then, man, taking stock of it and just recognizing how fortunate you are is a huge part of it. And again, Empath as a project was such a monumental moment for me. Regardless of how people feel about the album, just the whole process of it was so indicative of a leap of faith for me that now that it's done, it's the first time that I can remember that I've been able to stop and look around and say, hey, okay, man, you don't need to do this. Take a moment, chill out, move slower. You know what I mean? Like I'm very profoundly grateful.
It's important to do, man.
I agree.
I've hit that age in my life now where I'm just starting to, like you were saying before, work to keep your mind off other things. But I feel like I've sort of hit that part of my life too, where I've got to take a minute to smell the flowers, as the old, appreciate what's around you. Yeah, you're right.
Everything has to play ball with everything else. Just like strapping material has to play ball with ghost material for me.
Yep.
Being hyper-productive needs to play ball with going on vacation,
Absolutely.
Working hard during the day needs to play ball with taking time for family in the evening. I can't have the things that I enjoy so much without the other things. And it's that kind of duality that I was hoping to sort of explore with the themes of Empath.
So are you going to be announcing another tour here with a full band and everything soon after this one?
Yes, I'm going to get the acoustic thing, and I highly encourage people to come out to the acoustic show because it's very much a part of this whole process.
Yeah.
But then I will be announcing the next tour in which I play the entire catalog, like everything.
Yep.
The best of the entire catalog from strapping up till now. But I'm just auditioning people for it now, and I want to find the best possible scenario for that. And there's no dates yet, but rest assured that when it does get announced, it'll be done right.
Awesome. Well, I'll play triangle if you need someone to play triangle, and our mutual mate Chippy, he could play triangle too. So
okay, well, if we have, tell him I said hi, and we could just have like stereo triangle, man. I'm into it.
Done. Well, Debbie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat again, and I'll see you in Brisbane, man.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks for the interview. I'll see you soon.